It's about to get live. We keep it pretty level, no surprise. Come and listen to the topics busted. Yeah, check out our discussion. Keith Norris and D2K. K-Bump 20 on the MIC. Jet Eye Night all the way in Germany. Leveled head, you know who that boy is. When they say live and level, live and level. We on that MIC. Live and level, live and level. We just talking them games. Live and level, live and level. Take a seat and listen up, man. Live and level, live and level. What's up, people? This is your boy Levelhead, and this is the Live and Level Gamers Podcast, episode 158. Will Bethesda force Sony to play CrossPlay? What's good, folks? Let me know who's listening live. Right now, I'm by my lonesome, and I don't know if I'm going to be by my lonesome the whole show, because we typically don't do Sundays, but for the last few Sundays, we've been on, trying to make sure we can catch and work out with certain schedules. But right now, it seems like I'm the only one here. But let me know who's in the live chat. Give me your names, and I will begin to, let you know that I see you, and happy that y'all are tuning in. What's good, folks?
Seattle faces a $500,000 lawsuit.
What's good, people? What is good? What y'all want to talk about? Give me a second. Just hold up just a second. Gotta get things ready. Gotta get things going. Here we are. All right, here we go. So I see First Name Basis is in here. Kenji is in here. Dark Sun Rider is in here. What's up, folks? How you do? Anyway, welcome to the show. Like I said before, I'm by myself. I'm doing this on the low, by my lonesome. And you know what? If it ends up being by myself, okay, it's all good. I can handle it. But before we get into the going-ons of this podcast, I need y'all to let me know what's going on in y'all world. Like, I just want to hear some feedback. Continue to talk in the live chat and let me know what's going on your way. Let me see. What y'all talking about? Let me see. Anybody else got it? Come on, man. You're never alone, Level. I know. I know First Name. I'm never alone. Never alone. I can't say where to sit. But what's up, man? Y'all ain't talking. Y'all ain't saying nothing. So anyway, man, it feel good to be back. Just got home not too long ago. Tried to get me a little shut-eye. Couldn't do it because when you got twins and you got family and they calling you and running up on you, you can't do what you want to do when you want to do it. So I'm a little tired. I really am. But I'm here. We live. And I can't be tired live on air. Let me see what it said. Kenji said, I've started playing the new Monster Hunter. It is fire. I downloaded it. I haven't played it yet. I was at the screen where it was asking me what language do I speak. And it sat there for a while. I don't know what was going on in my mind, but I didn't move past that screen to check it out. So how you said, it's fire. So I need to go up there and check it out, man. See how that's playing. What else going on? Let me know. I'm checking you out over here. Oh, there go Jedi Knight. What's up, bro?
Yeah, what's going on, man? My bad for being late.
No, you straight, man. I'm just talking to the folks in the live chat. They keeping me company. Right. First Name Basis says, just chilling, munching on some Domino's pizza, listening to the best gaming podcast on YouTube. Thank you, First Name Basis.
That's not a bad situation at all.
No. And I had Domino's actually Friday. So you know, great minds think alike. What toppings do you have on your pizza? First Name Basis. Let us know. Dark Sun Rider said, what's up, Jedi?
All right, what's going on, everybody? Actually, I'm not even fully set up yet, man. I just jumped on the computer and put up the Hangout. Let me go to the chat area.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Yep, I'm here.
So yeah, I had Domino's pizza this past Friday, and it was all right. I ain't really big on Domino's, but when you want something that can feed the family and pretty cheap, you can't go wrong with Domino's unless you go Little Caesar. And I ain't real big on Little Caesar. They cheese don't get it for me. That's just oil and grease. I don't do Little Caesar too much.
Yeah, I've always dug Domino's. I thought it was good. Pizza Hut and Little Caesars wasn't really my spot, but Domino's was always good.
Yeah, Domino's pretty consistent. Pizza Hut, I gotta be in the mood. I can sometimes, some other times not. What is the other one? Papa John's, the same. I like Papa John's. And then, but I like this a place that we got called Pagliai's. I like that. They pretty good. And Emo's Pizza. I don't know if you ever heard of Emo's. I don't know if they had that out. You know, that's a Midwest St. Louis style pizza. And it's pretty good. Godfathers, yeah, first name basis. You know, Godfathers, they kind of closed down just about everywhere, but they probably one of the best pizzas you can get. Anyway, what's up, Blue Boat? Who else is in here? I'm trying to make sure I name all the folks. SU Papa John's all the way. I'm with you, Ken G. Papa John's is pretty good. Pretty good. The 3 Italian, I think that's what it is. The 3 Italian cheese. I like that one. Pretty good. But anyway, welcome to the show. Right now, it's just me and Jedi Knight, and we're here to talk about these games and keep y'all company for about an hour or so. So, excuse me, I just burped. But anyway, as we talk, we're going to get into some topics. But what's been good in your lane, Jedi?
Man, I've had a very frustrating week with Electronic Arts, man. I'm stressed over this company. And I can't blame them because it is my fault that I continue to give this company my money. But I had tweeted to you and K-Bomb earlier this week on how I ultimately paid $130 for Madden 19.
What?
And to start, I wanted let me actually explain this whole situation, then we can get on with the topic, just so I can get this off my chest. I wanted to get the PC version. I don't deal with Origin. Any games that I purchase on Steam, right? So I wasn't really savvy with their policies, their return policies. Nonetheless, I had pre-ordered Madden 19. On August 10th, I wanted to watch the first preseason games, but before then, I wanted to rock out and play some Madden. So at midnight my time, the game was released. When I executed the game came on, my HDR was activated on my television, and then suddenly my computer, the signal from my computer and my television just dropped. And I didn't understand what occurred. I just know that when the HDR occurred, it disconnected signal. Long story short, I had to factory reset my television. It was a big mess, right? Come to find out that Madden 19 on the PC, when it comes to LG and some Sony 4K televisions, they're having issues once HDR or Dolby Vision is activated. So what EA has told us is that maybe we should either change the HDMI cable or deactivate HDR or Dolby on our televisions when you can't deactivate HDR like that on an HDR television. So what I did was I said, okay, I'm not able to play on the PC. I wanted to do it because I know that there would ultimately be a modding community. You know, I'll be able to play in 4K. I have a regular PS4 Slim, and I just wanted to take advantage. But I said, okay, let me just go and get it for the PS4. I have K-Bomb on PS4. Maybe I'll be able to get up with him and so forth. So I purchased it, and at my local Media Markt in Germany is kind of like a Best Buy in the States, right? and they had it hiked up $10. So instead of $60, it's $70. So I speak to someone there, and I'm like, well, why is this game $70 and not $60? And long story short, that's just the price that they had. So I'm like, well, you know what? I'm gonna get the refund on the Origin purchase of Madden. So it is what it is. I just want to see what they done with connected franchise mode. So I purchased this game for $70. Now, mind you, I've waited this week before I decided to get a refund on the Origin version of Madden. I'm thinking that I have a 2-week window to do a refund similar to Steam. Oh no, you don't. Anytime you activate a game, you have a 3-day window for a refund, right?
Golly.
And I don't know this because one, I never use Origin, but two, I'm figuring that this is a EA issue because, like, I was on the support website and everything. There's a ton of people who are having issues with their 4K televisions and Madden for Origin. So many of us was waiting for a patch, which they decided that they weren't even gonna state that they were gonna attempt to patch. They just told us to deactivate features on our television. Why would anybody do that when every other game that we play has no problem except Madden, right?
That
So
sounds like some conspiracy stuff right there. That's what that sounds like, man.
dude, I'm
Go ahead.
incredibly hot over this right now. So I have a $60 Madden game on Origin that I cannot refund, and even if I refunded it, I would have gotten Origin credit for it, which I don't even use Origin. So that $60 is lost. I paid $70 to get the PS4 version, and when I get the game, they it's like it's reverted back to a few years ago in Madden to where there's no trajectory on the passes. So you can make a 30-yard pass, but a middle linebacker that's 15 yards away from the line of scrimmage can make a interception on a pass that you're throwing 30 yards down the field. Dude, I am done with Madden. I am done with Madden. I'm playing franchise mode. It is the same game, bro. The legacy issues, not only do they have issues with the trajectory of the footballs again, but now, once again, you have an issue where defenders can play multiple like receivers and they can jump routes. They get like these boosts where it doesn't matter what their speed is in the game. The I hate this company so bad. I hate this company for this. And I really I'm upset at the NFL too for even allowing this license to do this. Meanwhile, people in Mutt, they're having a fabulous time because Mutt has gotten a ton of features. But let's get on with the podcast. I just need to get that off my chest.
See, that's my thing, man. I know K-Bum is a big Madden guy, and I'm pretty sure he can go through all the integral aspects that's, the little microscopic changes. And I mean, I try to understand, him being my boy, I try to understand, but listening to you, and I know you're an avid Madden player as well, and basically to you it's the same game. I don't know, man.
I can't even call myself an avid Madden player because I didn't even buy last year's version because they didn't change connected franchise, which this year what they were presenting was they've made changes to it, and they really didn't. They didn't change franchise mode. They've changed the progression, how the players can progress, meaning that you cannot specifically upgrade particular areas of a player. You can't do that anymore. But franchise mode, the system itself, is the same thing from Madden 17. And mind you, I've never played Madden 18 because Madden 18 was the same thing as 17. They're repackaging the game, brother. They're repackaging the game. But Mutt, where they're making $800 million a year on, that got a ton of features.
Okay. That's crazy. So is that all you gamed on this week, or is anything else?
I played a little bit of Fortnite on PS4. I did not play any Octopath this week. I was trying to get my, football, feel, on, but it is what it is. At least preseason has been exciting.
Yeah, man, crazy that you brought up football. I was right before I came down here, I was watching highlights of Mike Vick, and Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
And man, I don't think I felt that way about football, even though I watch football a lot. I probably won't be watching this much this season because me and my wife decided to cancel our cable subscription. So right now we don't have cable, but we entertaining the idea of getting what they call streaming cable now. Instead of getting the boxes all in the house,
True.
You can get literally an app on your phone, and it's a lot cheaper, and you can stream, basically Chromecast, or if you got Apple TV or whatever, you can straight from your phone cast it to your TV, and you got all the channel stuff, but it's just on an app on your phone, and everything is through streaming. We considering doing that because right now the cable bill just got ridiculous. We had everything, and we was about to be paying like $170 just for cable alone, and I was like, nah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I haven't had cable. Wow, I haven't had cable in at least 10 years.
So how you keeping up with the games?
I got NFL Game Pass. I pay 150 euros a year, and I get all of the games live, and whatever I don't watch, of course, is recorded, so I can go back and watch it at any time. And I got my PC connected to my television. I watch the games right on the big screen.
Okay.
It used to be super expensive. It used to be like $300 and something, which I refused to purchase at that price. It was just ridiculous to me. Then I would go like on dark web websites and find a stream and watch it, or Reddit or something. And NFL got hip to the game. People wasn't purchasing it, and they cut the price in a little bit more than half. It's about $149, and I was like, you know what, I'll do that because I get every game, playoff, Super Bowl, even during the off season. NFL Network, all of their NFL Premier shows, everything is on Game Pass. It's actually a good package for people who are really interested in football.
That's what's up. I'm reading one of the comments. First name basis said K-Bum's spider senses are tingling after we got to talking about.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, what's up, Keith, man? Welcome to the show.
What's up?
So
what's going on, Keith?
What's going on?
So what you been gaming on, bro?
Nada. I have not gained on anything for a minute since my so I don't know if you told anybody, but my SD card and my Switch died, and I got to buy another. I had 128 gigs SD card. It hurt, and I was trying to play something, and I told Level, I was like, man, my thing ain't working. I don't know, did I send you a screenshot? I don't even remember.
You didn't send me a screenshot, but you did let me know that everything like you can see the games. They just won't play.
Yeah.
And go ahead and inform me because you kind of was telling me, but you was a little frustrated, so I left you alone.
So here's the deal. I don't know how it failed, but I was trying to download the Dragon Ball Fighters demo. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it was like card reader not found, or it said SD card removed or something like that. I was like, huh? Impossible. I have not taken my SD card out. So it just went on from there, and I just kept trying and found out, I got on Reddit, I think it was, and some other people was like the SD card reader or whatever failed in the Switch. So I'm gonna have to go buy another SD card and re-download my games. So that's kind of like put me out like, man, I don't want to play nothing.
That's how I was with the Wii U, man. That's what literally happened. Like, I came down here. I think I was trying to play Mario Kart or Splatoon. Yeah, I was trying to play Splatoon, and I turned it on, and everything was just not opening. Everything was froze, and I was like, dude, what's the deal? So I tried to, I don't know what I did. I ended up trying to reboot it or something and lost everything. And lost all the save data, all the progress. And I was like, you know what? The Switch coming out anyway. I'm done with this system. But hopefully, man, everything work out. So are you gonna lose progression, or are you just gonna lose, are you just losing the inconvenience time of having to reprogram it with the new SD card?
Well, it'll be inconvenience because here's the good thing about the Switch. The save data is actually saved to the console. So if I once I re-download all those games, my save data should pick up right where I left off at. So that's one good thing Nintendo did.
Okay, that's good. Cool.
Hey, I jumped in on y'all talking about cable, man. I'm finna switch to Xfinity. They got a bundle right now. $32, or is it $32 or $35 a month for internet and TV? In this area, it'll be like 150 megs, and it also includes Showtime, HBO, and Cinemax, I think.
This is Xfinity.
Yeah, Comcast.
Oh, we don't have it our way.
For real?
No, we just got Charter. We got well, not Charter, but Spectrum and DirecTV and Digital and Dish. I don't think we got Comcast our way. I'm not for sure. I haven't seen anything Comcast related my way, so I'm not for sure. But,
for sure,
but Spectrum got we still got the internet. We got 400 megs internet, and because I got a house phone too, but they got a bundle where you can get the internet and the streaming cable for like around $60. And we like, should we paying that now? We might well see if we can get a bundle, maybe be paying like maybe 75, 80. And I got cable again. Cause right now I'm not going to be seeing any sports related anything for a while. Cause daycare is real.
Man,
daycare is real. That is hilarious.
Daycare is real. And that's more important than my sports love. So we had to make some grown man executive decisions, and that was one that had to go.
For sure.
But anyway, for me, man, what I've been gaming on, I still been on that Mario Kart. I was preparing myself for the tournament with Nia and Active Sin and all them over there on the red team, but end up being canceled because Nia got a new job and she wasn't able to really get it all set up. But I still been on that because after my boy Crazy Caleb, which ain't nothing but like 12 years old, thrashed me so many times, I had to get my game back up. So I've been playing that. Of course, I've been on that Paladin still, and I did get a chance to play that DB Z Fighters for the Switch, the beta. I got a chance to check that out. It was good. We talked about that last podcast, and I downloaded the Monster Hunter game for the Switch, the demo, but I haven't played it yet. So I might plan on going up there and checking that out. But right now, I just bought Infinity Wars. I bought that this past Tuesday, and I haven't watched it yet. So I'm most likely gonna watch that. I probably won't play any games once I get off. I'm gonna be on Infinity Wars again. So, but yeah, man, that's all I've been on. Mario Kart, Splatoon, not Splatoon, but Paladins. I played a little Fortnite. But I'm gonna tell you the truth, Jedi, you might like Paladins. I don't know if you played Paladins, but you might like Paladins a little bit more than Fortnite because of the way it plays. Like, instead of you dying and just having to start a whole new game, the way Paladin works is you just respawn until the time is up. You're constantly able to re-engage, the activity until that set time is up, and then then whoever wins. And it's a lot of different play styles. You got the just trying to keep control of a certain area. What do they call that, Keith? I don't know what that is called. Where you run to a certain location in the stage and you try to basically play king of the mountain, trying to keep that.
Yeah, tower defense or
like something like
control.
that. Yeah. And then they got one where you just who could take out the most of the opposing team, and then they got another one where you got to get to this particular spot, and you got to trigger this tank-like thing to come up, and then you got to defend it as it, you know what I'm saying, gain access or moves into the enemy territory to get to a certain location within the enemy space. You got to protect it as it traverse through there, and it's pretty cool, man. I'm kind of liking Paladins over Fortnite, to be honest with you. And right now, it seems like they let you use any character you want to use. Because for the last few times I played, weekend or through the week, I've been able to access any character I want to.
Okay, the last time I was on there, I only had a few characters available. I didn't get the Founders Edition. I didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't played Paladins in a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks ago, when you sent me your friends request, I tried to send you. I tried to join your party, but I couldn't. Paladins is actually a pretty good game. You know, I don't think it'll pull me away from Fortnite, but I do. It is a good feeling to, you know, if you die, you don't start all over again. The only problem that I do have with Paladins is that it does take forever to finally get into a game. Like, from the lobby to the game, it feels like it's forever.
Oh, yeah. Paladins, yeah, you're right on that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll reset, and you think it's about to start, and it reset, and then you got to go through that whole process again. I agree. That is kind of annoying. But that one I was talking about, KG just told me, is Catch the Objective. That's what I think it was called. So welcome to the show, Sim Zim, the Afro King. Welcome to the Live and Level Gamers podcast. But anyway, any final thoughts before we move into these topics?
Yeah, I finished my rant on EA and Madden. You know.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I don't have any okay. So I'm on the internet. I'm looking at I don't know who all uses Google Plus, and I'm just scrolling down. I'm listening to y'all, but I'm also scrolling down, and this really just messed me up. If this wasn't your show level, I probably would have said something worse. Okay, so there's this ice cream, and it's in the shape of a dog, right? There's ice cream in the shape of a dog. And it looks like a real dog, and they take this spoon and they're scooping, like they're like press on his neck or whatever, on the dog's neck. I'm thinking it's a real dog, and I'm thinking they're finna like pet it, and I didn't know it was ice cream, and they just cut his head off. It messed me up. I'm sorry. It messed me up. I was like, no. Okay. All right, y'all go ahead. I just had to tell somebody. Yeah,
you're gonna have to send me that. You're gonna have to send me some I can see,
like a link to that,
like a link to it, so I can see it.
Oh yeah. Let me see if I can go back to it. Pause it.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Oh, see.
Well, while they do that, let's put it in the Google Hangout that we in, and I'll check it out when one of y'all talking. But let's sneak into these topics. Let's go into these topics. I don't know what that was, but that's what it's supposed to be. There it is. We're sneaking into our topics. So let's get into this first one. How many has been keeping up with the whole going on of the fact that Blizzard is bringing over Diablo 3 to the Switch, right? I don't know how many people know that here. I'm pretty sure I know you do, Keith, but did you know that, Jedi?
Yeah, I heard about the rumor, and then I heard this week they confirmed it.
Yeah, so it's been confirmed.
The company confirmed it. Like, I think it was the Wall Street Journal or something like that. They wrote an article and confirmed it.
Yeah. So so that's coming, but they did an interview with I don't know if it's one of the CEOs or whoever it was. They did an interview, and in the interview, they asked them about possible other titles that Blizzard works on, of course, like Overwatch. And basically, the dude said Overwatch is feasible to come over to the Switch, and it's literally up to the dev team that makes Overwatch for that to happen. If they want that to happen, it's just up to them. They got the green light if the dev team wants to go through the work of making a version for the Switch. So throwing this at you, Jedi Knight, do you feel like this is the beginning of something very positive for the Nintendo fan base with, Blizzard bringing over Diablo and possibly even in the future, maybe even seeing a game like Overwatch making its way to the Switch?
Absolutely. There's a huge fan base, a Nintendo fan base that have not played a lot of these games. I never played, well, I did play Fortnite before I got it on Switch. I got it for the PS4, but I never played Paladins until it arrived on the Switch. I've never played Diablo. I'll be playing it on the Switch. I've never played Overwatch, and I will be downloading it once it arrives to Switch. So there's a community of folks who play on Nintendo consoles that may not have played on ever played these games before, but more importantly, if they have, they would probably want it on their preferred system. So yeah, I think that's great news. But to double back, I remember a few months ago, maybe a year ago actually, when we spoke about games like Overwatch and Paladins, and I think it was Blizzard that was kind of pushing the notion that it couldn't run on the Switch. And I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. You can just look at the PC specs. These games can run on anything. And I remember saying that maybe the Switch should try to get Paladins. And it's funny that they got Paladins, and now, Overwatch seems to be coming next. But a lot of that is due to the fact that the Switch has been like ridiculously successful.
Yeah. I knew when Paladins came over and not only came over, but was having success. And then a game like Fortnite was finding success on the Switch. When this Diablo announcement happened, I said in the line, I said, do y'all believe this is the beginning of something? And will this cause other titles to start coming? And then following week, here we are hearing about the fact that Overwatch is now feasible. When you write, Jedi, they did say it wasn't able to come over to the Switch earlier on when they was first talking about the idea of bringing it over. They said it wouldn't work. So yeah, that's interesting. You got anything to add to that, Keith?
I just think that who is this? This is I don't know, Liz. I don't know why I'm thinking Bethesda. I just think they're trying to cultivate a relationship. I think all of these companies are now, it seems, trying to cultivate some type of relationship with Nintendo. It's almost like Nintendo's been doing all of these, and I know I'm going left field, but Nintendo's been doing all of these wild and crazy things over the years, and we shunned them because gamers have shunned them, and mostly because news media outlets have shunned them, so we've steered away from them. But it's like, maybe we should have been messing with Nintendo a long time ago, and I feel like now they're trying to, cultivate some type of relationship. Or in some of those old companies that had strained relationships because of Nintendo's management is probably trying to come back and like, you know what? We like the Switch. We like what they're doing. Let's try to, get some things on there. So, yeah, I think your original point was them trying to eventually bring over something like an Overwatch, but they, use this game as a catalyst to see, if the audience is there and stuff like that. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, what's up, Lurking Ghoul? Welcome to the show. Yeah, I agree with you, Keith. Like I said, again, when we saw, games like Fortnite, Paladins, now Warframe, all these games that play in that field that, Overwatch kind of plays in, that open world, constantly evolving world that they play in, that universe, I would think that Blizzard would not be happy with a game like Paladins getting a foot up on them on a system like the Switch, when the Switch is gaining so much success and turning into a major hit. Well, it is a major hit, but it's kind of creeping into phenomenon territory if it keeps trending at the pace it is. I would think that a company like Blizzard would want, the flagship title like Overwatch to be there to kind of usurp a Paladins and supplant it as the go-to game on a system like the Switch. So I see them reacting like, dude, we can't let them get a step up on us on this system. We're gonna start with this Diablo, and we're gonna use this Diablo to work in, get a relationship built up. And I think they probably already have Overwatch being prepared and developed for the Switch already. I think that was just a hint at what might be coming down the road. So because why would they even disclose that and make that so clear? Yes, it's feasible. Like nonchalant, like, yeah, that can happen. It ain't no if, ands, but like, why did y'all go from like what Jedi was saying to all of a sudden now it's real easy, it's something simple. So I see this going somewhere great down the road. But let's move on, man. Speaking of Bethesda, so we talked about the fact that last week we saw Doom Eternal being announced for the Nintendo Switch, and Keith came up with a good idea for a topic of if Doom Eternal releases day and date with the other versions, the PC version, the Xbox version, the Sony PlayStation version, will this change the narrative around the Switch if this game release day and date with the Switch? I'm gonna let you take over on that, Keith, and kind of go to where your thoughts was on that, and then it'll come to you, Jedi.
All right, so I've always been curious, like if these games came out at the same time, how would the Nintendo versions fare? So, and on one hand, it's me trying to figure it out. Like, I guess it's that old console war thing that I'm still trying to see. Like, if is it true? You know, if Nintendo came out day and date, portable, feasible graphics, would these games still perform well? I mean, you know, as far as like numbers, and I think it will. I think being able to play these games day one when they come out on the Switch, being able to take it on, you know, on your commute to work or whatever, those people who live in those areas where they have to take trains and things like that. I'm going to buy it on the Switch, and I'm not going to buy it on my PS4 or my Xbox One. That's my logic, because I get to take it with me and play it on the go.
Hold up. Is your beard hitting your mic? I think your beard. It sounds like you got paper in you, like construction paper. But yeah, I was like, that must be his beard. That gotta be his beard. Go ahead now. Yeah. I just want to let you know that it was your hair. The hair on your face is in your mic. Go ahead though.
Shady, you know, just trying to be a man over here. But no, I think for me, buying these games on the Switch, even though my Switch ain't working and my SD card died, but buying it on the Switch makes more sense. You can still come home and have a great console version experience, hook it up to your TV or your computer monitor, however you got it hooked up, and then you can just pick it up and go. I think this is gonna, if this game comes out day and date, I think it might show that Nintendo is a force to be reckoned with, and that's what I kind of want to see. And maybe more developers will be like, hey, we need to like hold back our development on these other ones and bring this Nintendo version out, because if we don't, we can lose profits. And that's kind of where my mind was going. It's like, I think it's going to work out. I hope it works out.
Jedi?
Yeah, I think the narrative will change. The problem is when you get a game and it comes out 6 months later, it comes out a year later, and you've played it already. Or if you didn't play it already, you're not interested in it. You know, I think when it comes to sales, the sales bump may be there, but it may not be significant. And the reason being is there may be people who have a Switch that will prefer to buy it on the Switch instead of their other console. So the sale will be there, but it'll just be on the Switch and not the Xbox One or the PS4. There may be people who buy it on multiple systems, and they may want it on the go, may want it, you know, their definitive quote unquote version on, you know, their PS4 Pro or Xbox One X or PC, whatever the case is. But nonetheless, I think that this gives Nintendo a fair shot to compete in a space and provide content to their audience on time. You know, I would assume that there are people who have purchased games that are of the Nintendo audience, but have other consoles, that have purchased games on other consoles simply because it did not come to Nintendo, or it came way after the fact and they didn't know it was coming. You know, so
Right.
yeah, I think it'll change the narrative and it'll reflect in sales.
Yeah, I think you own to something, Keith, and I think Jedi Knight, you're absolutely right. I think this what will happen, because right now I was listening to, I forgot who I was listening to, but forgot what video I was watching, but they were saying how it makes more sense to own a Switch and a PlayStation or a Xbox, or own a PlayStation and a Switch. Like, you know, if you're a Nintendo guy, you own a Switch, it makes no sense to own both a PlayStation and an Xbox. It makes more sense to own either one or the other with the Switch. And I was thinking about that and thinking about what Keith was saying. If it released day and date, a company like Bethesda would probably see a person like, maybe not me, but people who own both a PlayStation, who wants the high-end graphics, but also does a lot of travel, is, you know, a whole bunch of back and forth to work, will probably buy for both the PlayStation or both the Xbox and the Switch. So they make two sales to one person. They'll buy for the Switch and they'll buy for the PlayStation, or they'll buy for the Xbox and they'll buy for the Switch, because they can have it on the go and they can have it for the home big, you know, extravagant experience with the 4K and all that. They got that, but then on the go, if they want to, you know, get into that game, they can have it for the Switch too. I can see that potentially happening. And then you would have some who, like Keith was saying, would choose to buy it over the counterpart, because, you know, they can take it anywhere when they go on vacation, when they're at work, when they're out and about with the family, and they just got some dead time they want to kill. You know, you can't do this with the PlayStation. You can't do this with the Xbox, but you can do it with the Switch. And the graphics may not be on par with Xbox and Sony and PC, but it ain't so far of a drop that it dampers the experience. So I think sometimes they was doing that because they was wanting it to kind of get its sales on those two platforms and put it on the Switch later. But I think it will cause some changes if it released day and date. You're going to see a lot of people buy it on the Switch over those versions, and a lot of people buy both, one for, you know, the PlayStation or Xbox and for the Switch. That's what I think will happen.
Yeah,
So,
actually, I gotta agree with that. And truth be told, it seems like the best combination to have this generation is a Nintendo Switch, especially if this situation happens where the Switch actually get these third-party games and they getting them day one. The best combination is to have a Switch and a PC.
yeah, that was another one they named. Yep.
If you want to get the graphics, then you have your PC machine, but with the Switch, you can take your games on the go. You know, so
Right.
you're able to get those same games digitally for cheaper if you go to Steam route, or if you go to G2A, or however you decide to purchase your games, and then you have the best of, you know, the graphical fidelity, but then on the convenient aspect of it, you have the Switch. So I think what companies like Blizzard is looking is the market that Nintendo is appealing to. It's not just them trying to be different. I think that Nintendo hit on something. That's what they did, right? And it's also good for these companies that do like free to play games, kind of like Fortnite, where you can play Fortnite on virtually anything that runs an operating system, right? But the cool thing about that is this: it's about attention. I can, like today, I played Fortnite on the PS4 today, but I play it mostly on the Switch, I can see the fidelity difference on the PlayStation 4. It is clearer, and the frame rate is higher. But it doesn't matter within 5 minutes. So essentially, what you have is a game that's just as good. And if you're able to put that on different, mediums like a Switch and another console, then that maintains attention on your product. And the Switch being allowed to go out and it being an actual console to do that is going to be great for games like a Fortnite, like a Paladins, like an Overwatch, and those games as well. I think that the Nintendo Switch has a really good niche for themselves this generation with this console.
Yeah. Want to send a shout out to Phoenix Star 5000. Welcome to the show. But adding to what you said, Jedi Knight, first name basis just put in here, and I was reading it, and it's kind of interesting. I didn't see this, and I follow Spawnwave, but he says, from what I'm hearing, shouts out to Spawnwave, Doom is supposed to be built from the ground up and not be a port to take advantage of what the Switch can offer graphic-wise. So he said, keeping my eye out on it. So he's saying that unlike previous titles coming to the Switch, this is going to be built from the ground up, taking full advantage of what the Switch can do and not just porting over what they've done on the PlayStation in other system, which, I mean, that'd be cool. I don't know if it'll make much of a difference if they ported it or built it from the ground up. I have no idea, but that's interesting at least.
Yeah, I think it would make a difference because you can get closer to the metal. With what is the company that has been porting all of these games? I forget the name.
Panic Button.
Panic Button. When Panic Button did Doom, those assets were for different consoles or PC, and they had to take that and kind of convert that for it to run on the Switch. Now, if there was any assets that they needed that could have helped them to establish something that was more stable or more efficient, they weren't going to necessarily get it because the game is already done. But now, because Bethesda is using Panic Button to bring the game to the Switch, but they're building the game at the same time that they're building the other games, then just like you can use particular tools and assets to make each individual console more efficient, given their respective, specs.
Architecture.
Now the Switch has that convenience.
Okay.
And another thing which is good about what First Name Basis brought up, that also gives me indication that this could be, I'm not going to say gonna be, that this could be a day one launch, because if they're building the game at the same time, meaning that the game is not being built after the other ones, then there's no reason for the game to come out months after.
Right.
The game should be done at the same time as the versions. So
yeah, that's interesting. I watched Spawnwave and I didn't catch none of that, but maybe I missed it. But thanks for putting that in the live chat.
Yeah, shout out to First Name Basis for that. Yeah. That was actually a good point.
So let's continue going on. Let's jump over here to something that we were talking about, Keith. And I'm going to hit up two things. First of all, the PlayStation VR, Sony just announced that they have sold that the PlayStation VR has just passed 3 million sales. Now we know that the PlayStation 4, with the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro, Sony is looking at about 80 plus million systems out there, at least shipped. And I'm pretty sure sold is probably 70 to 75 million systems sold. So throwing this at you, Keith, do you think this is something great? Like, let me answer this first. I'm not gonna front. I was shocked at this number because it's extremely lower than I would have expected. I was thinking maybe 7 to 10 million. I would think that would be respectable. But only 3 million since November of 2016. You've only moved 3 million VR sets when you have over 80 million PlayStation 4s shipped and about 70 to 75 million sold. You have only intrigued 3 million of people within your fan base to pick up VR headsets, Sony VR headsets. That's, to me, I don't know, man. I think that's bad. Honestly, I think that's bad. But give me your thoughts on it.
So you said it's at 3 million?
Only 3 million have sold up to this day.
And when did it come out?
It came out in 2016, like I think holiday season, about around October, November of 2016.
I mean, that's probably what, a little over $1 million a year. What year is it? 2018.
Yeah,
so $1.5 million about.
So for something that's unproven like VR, is bad realistically, but in a way, it's kind of like it's an intriguing attach rate, I guess you can say. I don't know. I don't think VR picked up like they thought it was going to pick up for anybody. I think right now the best selling one is probably the Samsung device, and we already know that that's not even pushing PlayStation 4 type graphics. So, and most of that comes with the when you buy a new Galaxy phone or whatever. So I don't know, man. I'm not really into VR. I really don't look into it. But I wouldn't say it's bad. I would say it's respectable. It's a little over $1 million a year. That's how I look at it. Okay, all right. Jedi, your take on it?
I'm on the same boat as Keith. You know, to sell 1 million a year, that's platinum. You know, to sell 1 million a year, that's kind of respectable. You know, especially when they didn't really have a lot of content out. For the most part, the only 2 games that I know that have been like certified great games, I wouldn't necessarily say hits because they didn't like move units because of VR. But I heard that Resident Evil 7 for VR is legit.
Yeah, I heard that.
There's a Star Trek game where you play like I don't want to say Captain Kirk, but you're like the captain of the main station. And I heard it's a really good Star Trek game for VR.
The Enterprise?
The Enterprise, yeah. It was something to that, effect. But I couldn't tell you any other good VR games. That's really the problem. You know what VR reminds me of? It reminds me of when gaming went 3D, went the polygon route for the first time, and it took a while for developers to really understand how to utilize, the 3D world, the polygon effects, because like during the Saturn and the original PlayStation era, there was a lot of crappy games coming out, but it really wasn't until the PlayStation 2 where it was like, wow, this is what we can expect, and I think that's the space that we're at with VR, but I think 3 million in 3 years is not bad at all. That's not a fail to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Y'all making me question my feelings towards it. I ain't saying y'all changing them, but y'all are making me kind of slow up on, because I'm looking at the attachment rate. It's 80 million PlayStation 4s out there. Like, I guess I'm thinking if the VR, if it was, let's say it was Nintendo VR and it was for the Switch, I would be honest, I would think more than 3 million would have sold, even with the and I'm trying to stay out of console war territory, because that ain't why I'm saying this. It's really I really believe if Nintendo had came out with a Nintendo VR headset for the Switch, I believe more than 3 million would have sold at this point.
I think I'll let you finish your point, and then
I mean, that's just a thought. That's just a thought of mine. So I'm looking at, like, had if the PlayStation had Xbox numbers like maybe 40 million, 45, somewhere around there, because Xbox ain't trying to share that at all. But that's what we assume it is. 3 million, 4 million to me ain't bad. But when the PlayStation has as many PlayStations out there, to me, I have to. I try to think. I believe that they expected to sell more than this, but maybe they didn't. I don't know, but that's what I assume. That 3 million was not what they were projecting. I would think they were projecting more, but maybe I could be absolutely wrong on that. So, but go ahead. You had a thought. Go ahead, Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, I see your point with the attachment rate relative to the amount of VR headsets sold, but those VR headsets are like $400, right?
Okay,
So say
that's right.
if I want to jump into that, I have to have a $400 PlayStation 4 console, and I have to buy a $400 accessory. That's $1,000.
Right. I ain't even think about the price.
For 3 million to be moved at $400 a pop. What number is that? Is that like close to $1 billion? Am I doing the math on that right?
Depending on how much it costs to make the headset, how much I don't know what they.
But
I don't know what the headset costs to make, so I don't know what they actually making on each headset.
I'm not sure if they're underwater on that, but if they're making profit, I mean, of course it wouldn't be a billion. That's just like the raw numbers, if I got that right. But they're probably in profit on that. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a viewpoint to look at it. I mean, if it's true, they have 80 million sold and only like consoles and only sold 3 million VR, headsets. I would assume that they expected more from themselves for that, because it was a complete industry push for VR. What I wanted to talk about was Nintendo, and this was the only thing that I wish Nintendo should have done. They should have had a screen that was not 720p. They should have had a 1080p screen on a Switch. And the X1 chip should have been the next generation chip. And the reason being is, if they would have had a 1080p screen, they would have been able to do VR.
Yeah.
And now, when every Switch is also a VR headset, because all you have to do is get the headset and slide the Switch right in front of your face. So for every Switch that would have been sold, they would have also sold a Switch. The reason why the PlayStation 3 was able to beat out the Xbox 360 when it came to the disc wars is that the 360 wanted you to buy an accessory, which was the HD DVD, and the PlayStation 3 already came with Blu-ray. So for every PlayStation 3 sold, you instantly had a Blu-ray player, right? I think that's what Nintendo should have done. They can do it in the future still, maybe when it's more affordable, because we all know that Nintendo doesn't want to, be at a loss when they sell their consoles. So, I don't want to go actually too forward with that, because there was some rumors that came out that I wanted to touch on. But if this is something where they can do like the Switch 2, that is most definitely something that, Nintendo can do, just kind of like they did like the new 3DS. They can get the new version of the Switch that has a 1080p screen, a bit more power. And so what if the power consumption in VR is probably like an hour or an hour and a half? The fact that anyone can experience VR would push VR, because everyone would have it in their possession.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. Well, I disagree, but I also agree. If it had a 1080,
hold up, get your mic out your. I don't know if that's back in your chin or not, but you scratch it.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
You could be, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna disagree, but I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree with the technical aspects of, if it was a 1080p screen, yes, absolutely they could do VR. But as you can see in our present day, that most games that come out aren't even pushing 1080p. So even if you had a screen, the game still wouldn't be scaled in 1080p, so it wouldn't even matter.
Well, I guess in respects to the software, you would have a point. But for the specs, for you to be able to put the screen in front of you and be able to see without seeing a whole bunch of pixelation, then you would need the 1080p. It doesn't necessarily, well, I can't say that because it's still resolution. If it's with the 720p screen, if you try to do VR, you're going to see the obvious pixelation, which is the problem with the current Switch.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, it doesn't have to be like bleeding edge graphics. It could be kind of cartoonish graphics like Fortnite, I would assume, or kind of like Paladins, right? At the end of the day, if the game itself is good, then graphic wise, it doesn't have to be so phenomenal. We have a whole bunch of games that, graphic wise, it looks photorealistic. Yet the most popular game in the world today looks like a cartoon.
True.
True. Shout out to Erica Green. Welcome to the show. I meant to say that earlier and I forgot. She's been listening to us going to work, and now she's getting to listen to us for the first time live. We hope you are enjoying your listening and tuning in. Welcome to the show. And also, who else down here? The Trigger Man. You got to explain to me that name. I like that. I might have to steal that. Anyway, the Trigger Man, welcome to the Live Level Gamers podcast. He said something that I wanted to bring up and get y'all thoughts on before we move to our next topic. He said Nintendo lost a lot of people due to lack of Bluetooth. It's 2018. I kind of agree with that. I don't know if they lost anybody, but I know they upset a lot of people because the Switch should be able to allow you to use Bluetooth, and with the USB-C type, Nintendo, I feel like, is not taking advantage of something that they can easily circumvent the need for Ori. It was Ori that made that headset where you got to hook it in.
Mm-hmm.
They got USB-C type earphones out there that you can hook into USB-C type. I don't understand why Nintendo have a controller with a USB-C out and not take advantage of allowing that to some kind of way. I'm pretty sure they can rework it to where it could receive. I don't know if it's in that in the setup now, but I'm pretty sure they could, for future purposes, start to rework the Pro Controller to receive audio through the USB-C out and let you hook up that way. Just like a PlayStation or a Xbox controller. So I'm with you, bro. I don't think it hurt anybody from buying the Switch but I think it's frustrating those who own the Switch that these inconveniences are here when in 2018 they shouldn't be here. Go ahead, Keith, and then Jedi Knight, you can follow behind Keith on it.
I think it's using Bluetooth. I just don't think they're using it in the way that we want them to use it. I'm not sure if the Joy-Cons are proprietary, but I think they use a form of Bluetooth. But yeah, I agree. I agree with both of y'all. I agree with what's his name, the Trigger Man. I agree with you also too, that Nintendo should be utilizing that USB Type C. Nintendo should be utilizing Bluetooth. Nintendo should be utilizing everything that we have out now. There's no reason that they shouldn't be utilizing everything that we have out now. It doesn't make sense. They, like I said, they made some great advances with the micro SD cards. That's great that they didn't come out with, like, what was it, the PSP? The PSP had the proprietary memory cards, which basically killed. Was it the PSP or the Vita? I think it was Vita. I think it was Vita, and it basically killed it. Like, so Nintendo's using on the shelf products, but then it's like they don't go the extra mile. It's like, oh, we done so great this far. It's like, no, keep going. You're right there. Keep going. But I agree with both of y'all, and I would like for Nintendo to release some type of software update if that's possible, if that's even a possible fix, to utilize some of these things. You may as well.
I didn't know if they could or not, but I think in theory they should be able to do that. Go ahead though.
But yeah, it's like we're coming into a wireless, or we've been in a wireless industry now for a while now. Bluetooth headsets make sense. And even if they didn't want to do that, the way you said the USB Type C makes great sense too. I mean, it overrides the use of actually they could save money by not having to use a headphone jack.
Yeah.
And then with software, with the USB Type-C, you have your voice chat. You don't have to worry about how many pins is going into the headphone jack, because the software in the USB Type-C eliminates that.
Right.
It just Nintendo just use all the stuff that we have out now. But anyways,
Yeah, go ahead, Jedi.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I have a very specific case for this, like personal situation. And it's funny that the Trigger Man just wrote, speaking about a game like Fortnite. What he just wrote again is basically being able to communicate with teammates. That's not even my problem, because with Fortnite, I rarely speak. This is my problem with the Switch. When the Switch, when it's in handheld, I can plug in headphones and I can hear where shots are being, you know, sent or fired, or I can hear footsteps. The surround sound, the audio in Fortnite is phenomenal. You can hear where things are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is when you dock it and you sit back away from your TV, then you can't get a headset. So you hear the footsteps and the firing, but you don't get that surround sound, so you don't know exactly where it comes from. So the audio aspect of the game is limited, and you're not being able to play to the best of your ability because you're limited by the sound, because you don't have headphones.
Now, did you have a surround sound set up in your crib?
Nah, I have a Sonos bar. So I
Okay,
have a 2.1, but even if I had like a surround sound, it's not like headphones.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, as far as I got it, like when you was describing what you was describing, in my setup, you can definitely hear it better in earphones, but I can hear, like if a person is walking to the left of me, the way my setup, I got surround sound on both. My one upstairs is through sound bar, and I got a subwoofer and extended bar for my back sound. I can literally hear where the shot's coming from. Like if it's on the right side, I can literally hear the ricochet or the echo from that side. But again, when I did play with the earphones, when I was playing with K-Bum, I had my earphones in, and I did notice that the clarity was a lot different in the earphones than the surround sound. But it is there if you got the right setup, though. But go ahead, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you have surround sound, then you're good to go.
Yeah.
But what Nintendo's essentially doing is either they're gonna force you to buy surround sound, they're gonna force you to buy, a dongle. Like if you go to 8-bit and you get like the it's like
it allows it to
yeah,
Bluetooth
you can
up.
put
That's what I've
into
been
the
having.
jack, and then it allows you to be wireless. But then you have the lag from the visual to the audio, right?
Yeah.
All they had to do level was exactly what the PlayStation 4 did, and just put a head jack in the controller, or allow you to use the USB 3. Why would you have a USB 3 in the controller and there's no use for it outside of charging sorry for cursing,
no,
the freaking
right.
controller?
Yeah, I understand the frustration.
Man,
I don't know. That's my point.
Frustration with Nintendo. It's the little things that kills me with Nintendo, though. It's the little things. They can have such a very good foresight in regards to trying to expand the gaming space. They don't want to do the same thing that the other guys are doing. But then the little things that kind of bring it all together, they completely drop the ball on every console generation.
Yeah.
Kills
Shouts
me.
out to what is it? The Sin Gamer. Welcome to the show. I keep seeing that you get the notification late, man. We got to figure this out. But yeah, I'm with you, Jedi. I mean, there's a lot of things, and Keith hit on it too. Nintendo should be at this point taking advantage of everything that they could possibly take advantage of to remove our future-proof they system. Like, I'm out here trying to find a dongle, and I bought the wrong thing. I bought a receiver instead of one that cast the signal. I bought a receiver that it sends what I'm saying to the Switch, and that don't work. I need what's coming out of the Switch to come to my earphones. But it don't make any sense. You got a USB-C type. You could have put a earphone jack in the controller. You know all this stuff. You had that. Matter of fact, the reason we know is because you had it with the game, with the Wii U. The gamepad had a headphone jack in it.
True.
The gamepad had a microphone in it. Like all these things that you had on the Wii U, why didn't you just improve that and bring it over to the Switch? You know that people are going to want to listen and talk to folks docked. Why would you force them to go buy an extension card that got to run across your floor for your twins can run and get tangled up in it and knock your Switch all over the place? Why would you force me to do that, Nintendo, when you could have easily gave me a Bluetooth option? Like, it's nonsensical. But again,
I was on mute. That was hilarious. I'm sorry. I don't know if anybody else caught what he just said, but that was hilarious.
That's why I haven't done it, because if I go out and I buy, earphones with a long enough cord to reach from my couch to my Switch, all that's gonna do is I'm gonna forget that I got my earphones on and stand up and walk away and knock my Switch all over the place. My girl's gonna run around and get tangled up in it and pull it, and there go my Switch. It's like you are creating inconveniences that 2018 clearly addresses that you just ain't taking advantage of. It's stuff here to address these things, to make these things more workable. Bluetooth, USB-C type, head jack in the controller. All these things are available to you and you're not doing it. It makes no sense. But staying on this PlayStation, me and K-Bum and Keith was kind of talking about this, and I want to bring it to the listeners' ear. We know that Spider-Man is coming out for the PlayStation 4, and Spider-Man looked good. I mean, it looks amazing. And I don't understand why my excitement level is not as high as I would think it should be for this game. So I asked K-Bum and Keith, I was like, are y'all excited for the Spider-Man game? Because when God of War 4 came out, I was enthusiastic. I was heads over heels for that game. Couldn't wait for that game to drop. The more I saw about it, the more I wanted it. But when K-Bum said, man, I don't know what it is level, but I'm not excited for it, I felt kind of vindicated. Then Keith was like, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not excited for it. So what has happened from the time that we first saw this game, and we were excited because I remember that podcast, we all was excited for this Spider-Man game. What has happened since then to now that has killed your excitement? First of all, Jedi, I got to ask you, are you still excited for the game like you was before? Has that kind of dampened a little bit? Where are you at with this new Spider-Man game that's coming out here soon?
I'm excited to see what it does. I haven't necessarily been excited for it. Like, I'm not going to buy the game. It's just not really a game that I would buy and play. But it's without a doubt the best game creation of New York City I have ever seen. Like, in terms of not just the buildings, but people on the streets, the traffic. The game looks absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, I don't know. I would have thought that there would be more hype around this game, and honestly, I didn't really think about it until you just brought it up. Yeah, I haven't heard a lot about it, and the game comes out in a couple of weeks, don't it?
Yeah, it's literally, I think I think it's right at 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think with the game, it'll do well. I think it'll be like one of those Batman type games, you know, Batman, Arkham Knight, and it's of that vein. And I think that works really well for Spider-Man. I think it'll do well.
Okay, before you jump in here, Keith, I want to send a shout out to Heart and Soul 72 and Aries 73. That's kind of crazy. Y'all both jumped in here around the same time, 72, 73. I want to bring up something Aries said. It says, keyword looks. We need to find out how it plays. I agree with you, Aries. But go ahead, Keith.
So, yes, I was one of the people who was hating on Spider. No, I wasn't hating. No, when I look at that game, only thing I can think of, and Jed, I just brought it up. Only thing I can think of is like the Arkham games, and I don't feel like doing it. And I guess you know what I mean. And as me becoming an older gamer, when I think about doing certain things in video games, I immediately get turned off. Like I don't want to do a escort mission, and I see Spider-Man may have a lot of that, and it's kind of like just a lot of repeat stuff that you've seen in the Arkham games for the past 4 games. And it's like, man, Spider-Man is pretty much kind of doing the same stuff, even though it's Spider-Man and he has better abilities, or natural abilities. But it's just kind of like, I don't feel like doing it. And kind of like how you were saying you was excited about God of War. It was like, here's a new experience that I haven't done in a while. And I even go as far as to say when I played Breath of the Wild, and then I had to turn around and play what was the Assassin's Creed open world. It's like, I don't want to do this right now. You know, it's just too much of the same. And I feel like me personally just finishing, I think I finished it last year, Arkham Knight. I think it took me a while. I don't want to jump into Spider-Man. You know what I mean? And then it's like, I don't know. But to me, it just don't seem like it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a great game. I think it's gonna have a great Metacritic score. I think the fans are gonna love it. I just don't think that I would.
Yeah, let me Sim Afro King just said something that I think is relevant to the topic. He said, I think as gamers, we're getting spoiled by this game left and right and central. I think that's what he meant. It was shown 2 years back, so our excitement slowly drains. Just how you said it? Anxiousness, possibility, nothing new. So I guess what he's saying is, have we seen too much of it? And that's a possible. We've been actually seeing this game for what, 2 years now, 2.5?
Yeah, I think they showed it. They first showed it when they did the PlayStation 4 Pro reveal.
Yeah, they did. So that's 2016. So yeah, it's been 2 years. So man, but again, I can see that as a possibility. But we saw God of War early out. We saw Breath of the Wild almost 4 years.
Yeah, I felt like we've seen Breath of the Wild for like 5 years straight. It felt like
so
forever with that game.
I don't know if it's we've seen too much, or if it's the fact, like what Keith said. Do I really want to play? Like when I see the game, I think of, and I wish K-Bun was here. When I see the game, I think of the game. What's the game for Sony? Another game that was, what's that game? Insomniac made it. I think.
Oh, you talking about
Infamous?
Infamous Second Son, yeah.
I think of Infamous Second Son. And I played Infamous Second Son. Infamous Second Son looked great, and it played great, but it was boring after a while. It was just the same thing over and over again. And as quickly as I got into the game, and possibly the fact that by the time I played the game, it wasn't new anymore. It had long been past its hype time. Jedi, I just got tired of playing it, and I liked it. It was cool, but it wasn't enough there to keep me coming back. And I feared, just like Dark Knight, everyone that I played, after a while, I just got tired of the repetitive nature of the game. Like I never finished the last Dark Knight. I finished Origin, but I didn't finish the one. What was it? Arkham Knight. Which was the one that just came out not that while ago?
Arkham Knight.
Is it Arkham Knight?
Yeah.
I never finished that one. I traded it in. I got to that last tank battle. I said, if I do another tank battle, I'm not playing this game. I came around, I finished all the tanks off that they had. Then they had a bigger tank. I said, I'm done. I never played it again. And I'm fearful that we're going to get similar play styles like that. Just kind of replaying and amping up the, I guess, the AI and the difficulty, but nothing new. And I don't know if I really want to, like Keith said, I don't think I want to jump into that. And the game looked phenomenal, though, bro. It looks,
dude, the game looks,
it looks
great,
ridiculous,
bro.
man.
It looks crazy,
and that's what keeps me kind of like. I check in on it, I look at it, but every time I watch people play, I ask myself, is it really gonna play like this? Is it really gonna play like this? And is it gonna get to a point to where I'm overly, I'm done and burnt out on. I'm fearful of repetitiveness happening in the game. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But when K-Bum said he wasn't excited for it, I was right? Like, okay, that shocked me, bro. I'm not lying. When K-Bum said, man, I ain't even up for a level. I'm like, what? Like, K-Bum, you not excited for this graphically intense PlayStation exclusive? No, bro. I was like, okay, that validates. I don't feel like I'm biased or nothing now. I feel like what I'm seeing just ain't selling me. And I don't hear, like you said, Jedi, I don't hear nobody really talking about this game.
I think the Trigger Man said something interesting in the comment section. Shout out to him. He said, I think gamers are getting drained from the same cookie cutter game genres. I think that is why God of War was so successful. It was a fresh new take on the series. And I think that's exactly what Spider-Man probably needed. Like, you take Spider-Man and you put him in a game like The Last of Us. Now, not actually The Last of Us, but a game where he has to be stealthy. I know that kind of takes away from what Spider-Man is, but just think about it. He has to be stealthy. He can't just go out there and just fight all willy-nilly. You know what I'm saying? It still has your open world. It can still web swing, but he has to be more focused, I guess, or strategic. There you go. That's a better word. He has to be more strategic about his movements and stuff like that. This just feels like, honestly, one of the greatest Spider-Man games of all time was Spider-Man 2 off the GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox.
That's true.
One of, and I feel like this is just an updated version of that.
Let me address Antonio C.R. Murray. Welcome to the show, bro. He says single-player games, of course, their replay value will be low. Come on. I'm really not talking about replay value. Because, like, with Zelda Breath of the Wild, once I beat the game, I didn't go replay it. I was done with it. I'm done with Zelda. In order for me to go back to Zelda, they're going to either have to make a whole new game or make some real compelling DLC, not that trash they gave us and hyped us up for them took my $19 and then give me nothing worth playing. But what I mean is, huh?
I said, send all your hate mail to Levelhead.
I'm being honest. You know I'm not lying. Hey, the game was great, but that DLC was trash.
Man.
But what I'm saying, Antonio, is the repetitiveness in the game, in the single player game itself, not replay. I like God of War. I'm done with God of War 4. I have no desire to replay it again. But as I was playing through the game the first time, experiencing it for the first time, it kept drawing me back. It never felt old. I never got tired of throwing that axe. I never got tired of cutting them heads in half. I never got tired of my son shooting the arrow and aiding me. I never got tired of that. It kept me engaged, whereas Arkham Knight, bro, I got tired of fighting them jail fights and having to fight 20 people and the computer cheating. And I'm like, dog, dude, you know I caught that block. Why you do me like that? And I got to start over and do the whole. I got tired of that. And it literally made me put the game down. Like Assassin's Creed, which one is this new one? Is it Origin? Huh?
You talking about Origins or the one that they finna come out with?
No, I'm talking about the one that's out now, Origins. I love that game, but I'm not gonna lie, man. I had to put it down. It gets so repetitive that I can't stay at it. I gotta give myself a break from it and then build up the desire to play it again. Then when I start playing it, I get back into it, then I get bored of it just as fast as I got back into it. And I'm scared that's what Spider-Man is going to be like. I'm not saying it is. I'm fearful that it will. So that's what I'm saying.
I would like to also add to that. I understand exactly what you're saying. And what Antonio see, I think what he's thinking that you're saying is just the pure replay value on a general aspect. I think that you're talking more about the overall genre, this experience. It's kind of like playing the same game over and over. Think about it. When the first Batman game came out with this new fighting engine, it worked really well, and Batman the game took off because it was great. But now you have all of the Batman games that have come out that has this game engine, right? Mm-hmm. You now have the Spider-Man game that is obviously using this type of fighting engine, right? You have Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor. You've had so many games that have used this particular type of fighting style, as fighting engine, that it is repetitive. It is essentially the same game. It could be a different genre. It could be a different game. You can be in the Lord of the Rings world. You can be in a Spider-Man world. You can be in Gotham City, but it is essentially the same thing. And that is the problem. And I think that when people look at Spider-Man, yeah, it looks beautiful, but it looks like you can put Batman in that situation and it will be the same thing. Or the main character of Shadow of War in that situation, and it's the same game. Yeah. It's the same game, just different.
Same aesthetics, different
exactly. Just different suits. Instead of a Batman suit, it's a Spider-Man suit. Instead of a Spider-Man suit, it's a Lord of the Rings suit. It's the same thing. And
I agree.
That is what I believe is lowering the replay value or lowering the expectation of the game. It's not that the game itself is bad. The game could be super dope, but we've played it before. We've played it just in a different way, but it's essentially the same thing.
Different story, same game.
Yeah, look at what's going on with third-person shooters right now. It's like, how many times can you make the same thing? It could be Crisis, it can be Call of Duty, it could be Battlefield. It's the same thing. And then when somebody finally takes a different take to shooters, then it's like people fall in love with shooters again. Then you got the Overwatches, then you have the PUBGs, then you have the Fortnites. They're still gun games, right? But it's not the same formula. They're not using the same formula. They're trying to express themselves in a different way than trying to regurgitate what was successful in the past. And there's nobody that can look at Spider-Man right now and say that is not the Batman fighting engine. It's the same game.
Right. And the only thing that keeps me interested is the graphics and the fact that the same people who made Sunset Overdrive, which I think who Trigger Man said who it was, Insomniac made Sunset. I like Sunset Overdrive. If it plays, if it has anything like that, I might be kind of interested. But I gotta see the game. I gotta see not what they promote, the promotional gameplay. I want to see just regular day-to-day YouTuber gameplay and sit down and watch it and see if I like it. If I like it, if I like what I see, then I might go out and cop it. But at this moment, at this time, I don't know. It's just like Jedi was saying, it's the same thing. I played it, different suit, different name, different protagonist, same game. And I'm kind of burnt out on that. So, but let's move on because we got to get to this main topic. How many people, what I want to know what you think about old dude, what's his name? Patrick, is a Soderland? Soderland. I think that's how you say it. Left EA. What y'all think about that?
Who the hell is Patrick Soderland?
Okay, then that answers the question. I saw that. I know my first time seeing him was at Nintendo's Switch announcement, and he was there to talk about FIFA. That's the guy.
Okay.
He left EA. But you hit it on the nail, Jedi. We don't care. So let's move on. So going back to Bethesda. So Bethesda has this game coming out. I can't remember the name of the game, but the game is really irrelevant. Bethesda said that they are entertaining the notion of not bringing this title to the Sony PlayStation because Sony does not participate in cross-play gameplay.
Serious?
So yes. This is really behind the scenes. Bethesda is considering not bringing a game to the PlayStation 4 because Sony won't play ball with cross-play.
Huh.
Now,
I didn't hear about this.
yes, let me.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna look it up and I'll send it. Or Keith, if you can find an article on it, or somebody in the live chat can find the article and put it in the live chat and add Jedi name in it so he can see it. Yes, I can't remember what game it is. It's not a, and the interesting thing is not a major title. But
I thought it was Fallout 76.
No, it wasn't Fallout 76. It's another title. It was like some card-based title. I can't remember what is the name of. It's not even one of their major titles. It's not nothing big, but they saying because of the way the game has been designed, they need cross-play to be available to those playing the game. And if Sony is unwilling to play ball with cross-play, then they are entertaining not bringing the game to the PlayStation 4 at all. Now, the question becomes, if Bethesda holds their position on this and follows suit and don't put the game on the PlayStation 4, will this create room for other companies to follow suit? And will this create pressure for Sony to lift their ban on blocking their gamers for playing with other gamers on other platforms? I throw it at Jedi, and then Keith, I come back to you.
All right.
Yeah, I'm actually on online now, and I'm looking at an article that's talking about it. But to answer your question,
Elder Scrolls Legend, that's the game. Elder Scrolls Legends, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, it really depends. If this is something that the gaming community really reacts to, meaning that there's an actual impact for Sony not getting a particular game. There's like a particular backlash by the Sony community, gaming community, that wants this game and want to have cross-play capabilities. Then it would kind of force Sony's hand. I mean, honestly, I don't even know why Sony is doing this. They've been kicking behind this entire generation. Just do it. You know, it's like you won like 3 years ago. You know, wow. I hope Bethesda does it. You know, but honestly, I think the real reason why Bethesda is probably doing this is not solely because of crossplay, but if you have to sign in like with a Bethesda account, with the Epic Games account, you couldn't move your account information from the PS4 to like the Switch or the Xbox. I think that is what I had a problem with. I didn't necessarily have a problem with Sony closing their box off from the other consoles because it's their box. What I didn't like was them closing people's Epic accounts and not being able to move their skins from the PS4 to the, like, that was wrong. And maybe that's something that Bethesda is looking at because, again, with these type of games that may be free to play, you know, and they may have like a library to where you can purchase like in-game purchases. Maybe they have like some sort of a Bethesda account and they don't want Sony blocking that account or locking it into that console. Yeah, I think it could have an impact. I know I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And I wouldn't think that I'm the only person that had a problem with that.
Yeah. Keith, are you able to talk? Are you muted?
I'm sorry. I went to go blow my nose and forgot to.
I want before you say what you're gonna say, I wanna. I think who is it? I think it's Trigger Man made a good point. And we gotta bring this up. So I'm gonna bring it up. You don't have to address it right now. But he said Bethesda is not stupid. That is why they only pushed a card game at Sony, meaning that's why they only doing this with a card game. I bet they won't tempt Sony with Fallout 76 or a new Skyrim. Trigger man, I bet you're right. But we're gonna deal with that. I just wanted to get that out before it strode up and I had to look for it. But go ahead, Keith. Do you think this is a smart move by Bethesda? Do you think it will work? Do you think they're using the wrong game? Like, get your thoughts.
Definitely using the wrong game. However, I think Bethesda's trying to be the civil rights activist of the video game industry. Sony is the I won't gonna say white people, but
you just say they're the man.
Sony is the man right now.
Sony is the man right now.
And Sony is trying to do what they want to do, and Bethesda's like, hey, we're gonna make waves by saying we're not going along with your play. So we're gonna fight the man right now, and hopefully hoping that somebody else jump in the battle or whatever and make Sony play with everybody. So that's what I see Bethesda's doing. But they also like was the Trigger Man you said that said that?
Yeah.
Like Trigger Man said, they're not dumb though. They're fighting, but they're not gonna fight too hard. They're not gonna miss out on 80 million users with Fallout 76. So they're gonna, see if some other people can jump in and say, hey, we're gonna take this game from, or we're not gonna put this game on Sony. So I think it's just that they're trying to start a trickle effect, because I think the game industry as a whole wants this. Everybody wants crossplay. Everybody wants cross saves. I want cross saves more than crossplay. But I think this is what the industry wants, and Bethesda's trying to put the best foot forward first. They're trying to be the ones to usher it in or whatever, and hopefully Sony will change. Because Sony, I don't feel like Sony is giving us a legit reason as to why they don't want to play with everybody else. They've given us reasons, but in my opinion, which is my opinion, they've all been BS. You know what I mean? Like you can play, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? This is what the industry wants, so give it to them. Because Sony's been very good about giving gamers what they wanted, and now all of a sudden they don't want to do it. So I think Bethesda's just trying to fight the big boss.
Yeah, I to be fair to Sony, Antonio, is really being defensive. But I'm gonna give you credit, bro. You bring up a good point. You say Sony wanted crossplay years ago, and where was this then? Plus, gaming industry had an article about it. You're right. Sony, back in the day on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, it was Microsoft not wanting to play ball with crossplay for similar reasons. But I think the difference between then and now, the industry is pushing for crossplay. Back then, it was an idea, but it wasn't necessarily being pushed, where they had games like a Fortnite, like other games that they have that's crossing over, when sports titles are crossing over now and letting everybody play with anybody who is willing to connect with each other. I think because the industry has accepted crossplay, just like the industry accepted voice chat, and Nintendo wouldn't play ball with voice chat, and we scrutinize Nintendo, is like, in the same sense, Sony not wanting to play ball with crossplay when crossplay is the desired thing, like Keith was saying now. It makes Sony, even though Microsoft did it, the timing that Sony is doing it and the era that Sony is doing it in doesn't make sense. You was forward back then, now you're not, because you're on top. Of course, Microsoft is on top, now they're not. Now they're forward. It is very hypocritical. I mean, the hypocrisy of it is not the point. It's the fact that the industry, the developers, the folks creating these games, third party, wants crossplay, and the only one unwilling to play is Sony now. Whereas back when Microsoft said no, it wasn't even it was just a thought. It wasn't realistic. It wasn't a game out there making it happen. Fortnite has literally pushed us into a place, and I don't even know if Fortnite was the first game to do it. I don't want to give Fortnite too much credit, but games like Fortnite has pushed us into a place to where crossplay and it's the games like what's the other game that Rocket League. These games have made it to where playing with each other. And I think Rocket League was the first one who really opened that door, if I'm not mistaken. For real, I think it was Rocket League.
I thought it was Street Fighter 5.
Was it Street Fighter? Well, that was between PlayStation and PC. That wasn't all consoles playing together. I think Rocket League
You're right.
was like wherever the game was, they was wanting anybody to be able to play with anybody. And they opened up that cross-play narrative, and they not only opened it up, they pushed for it, they made it available, and then games like Fortnite and other games behind it, I would say the PUBGs and all the other games started to follow suit. And it's like, Sony, why not play ball now? Why choose now not to play ball? So I think it's the timing. Microsoft is hypocritical. Yes, when Phil Spencer get out there and push for it and make videos with Nintendo, yeah, they look very hypocritical because in the 7th gen, they were the ones in Sony position holding stout to not participating. But again, there was no game they're pushing for crossplay. There was no pressure put on Microsoft to actually acquiesce because there was no game to acquiesce to. But in Sony's time of doing it, there's plenty of games that's already doing this, and now Sony don't want to play ball. That's the difference, in my opinion.
I want to address Antonio. I think he said not true. Final Fantasy, I think that's 14, wanted it, and Microsoft turned it down. There was no noise then. Well, I will say this. Microsoft has never, ever been the man in the gaming industry. So when they do or don't do something, it's like, okay. You know, and when they do something, we do give them praise, like we do on this podcast, at least, like the whole cross-play and things like that, what they got with the PC. And at one point, you could buy one game and then you could have it on everything. Oh, wait, that's still the same. That's still the case now. But but yeah, we give Microsoft credit for stuff like that. But when Sony doesn't make a move, when Sony doesn't do something, when they're the lead platform, that it makes more waves. It's a lot more impact. It makes more waves. So when Sony doesn't do something, it's like, whoa. But when Nintendo doesn't do something, let's throw them in there too. When Nintendo doesn't do something, it's like, see, we told y'all. It's like we're proving Nintendo's who we thought they were. You know what I mean? Like Nintendo don't want to play ball. Right. So it's kind of like
I was shocked when Nintendo was open to crossplay. I would have thought Nintendo would have been ones who would say no, but
right
again.
And the fact that Sony and not Nintendo is crazy. That's why people are making noise right now.
And to go beyond that, I will ask you this, Antonio. You know, as a gamer, let's set aside council loyalty. Just as a gamer, should you be held prisoner because Sony don't want to let you as a purchaser and owner of a PlayStation 4 to play with anybody you so choose to play with? Is that right? I know that Microsoft is hypocritical. I know that they turned it down, but let's forget about all that. Just as a consumer and a gamer, are these anti-consumer practices, and is it right?
Can I intervene?
Go ahead.
Because what I'm starting to see, it looks, and I don't want to, well, I am going to assume, because it seems like that. If I'm wrong, then correct me, but it looks a little bit like damage control. When it comes to Sony, I don't think that this is like a Western companies thing that's trying to conspire against Sony to siphon subscriptions, right? Mm-hmm. Because the reason why Sony even has a subscription base is because of a lot of the third-party companies that put product on their machine, right? So all the companies, like third-party companies that provide content to Sony and their machine, are they not able to reap the benefit that Sony themselves are able to benefit from? Like, this is one of the reasons why I supported Nintendo so much, because for years, for numerous consoles, Nintendo was the only console maker that didn't force you to buy to use the internet. PC, you don't need a subscription. You buy the game, you play online, right? But with Xbox Live and the PlayStation, you need like these added subscriptions to essentially use a feature that you already paid for, right? So I'm not feeling too bad about their subscription base, right? But also, Antonio wrote that this seems like it's a Western narrative, not a global one. Even the people in the EU proved it that they don't want crossplay. I live in Germany and I want crossplay. Germany's in Europe. You know, it's I don't know what like survey or what that was, but you know, anybody can do that. I don't think that they spoke to, 50 million people in the EU to see if they, want crossplay or not. I think that they picked 50 people and then they tried to make it seem like that represented an entire continent. I really doubt that. But even if it did or didn't, the bottom line is it's an industry push now. And I think that companies that have the ability to actually take advantage of their products, they should have a right to do that. It's kind of like with EA, instead of going the Steam route, they're like, well, why pay Steam 40% for every game that we sell on their platform when we can make our own darn platform and keep 100% of the revenue, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's a give and take there. Steam makes all of this money, but they don't make games, right? Right. And the game people, because Steam is popular, at least they have an audience. So there's a give and take there. But when it comes to subscriptions and wanting to follow the people who support your games, then you kind of get locked out of that because it's behind subscriptions that the console creators hold. And that's very powerful if you really think about that. I don't think that we need to be damage controlling so much for Sony. The bottom line is, it's crossplay. People should be allowed to do it.
Yeah, I'm not going to damage control. I mean, I might have a preference for Nintendo. They might be my favorite company as far as gaming goes, but I'm not finna defend Nintendo not having voice chat. Whether it's right or wrong, I feel like they should. I feel like even if I don't care about voice, I remember back on the Wii U, I said I don't care about voice chat. But I remember I was on the show with Red Knight and S4Y, I think that was his name back then. And I said, I don't care about voice chat. I rarely ever have. At that time, I had never used voice chat. But I knew if Active Gamer wanted voice chat, if Jedi Knight wanted voice chat, if a Keith Norris wanted voice chat, if K-Bum needed voice chat to be intrigued to buy a Nintendo platform, then even though I don't care if they have voice chat, I know that Nintendo should not just placate to me. It's other folks that they need to be considerate of and mindful of. Hey, they want it though. I know there's a lot of people who own PlayStations who wants to play crossplay. I know there's a lot of people who owns NBA 2K and Madden that would love to play people that they know who owns an Xbox. Hey, bro, let me show you that Sony guys are better than y'all at Madden. They want to play them guys. And true. I think that that Sony should listen to their fan base. You got the loyalists who would defend it and say that they don't want it. But the truth is, if you play PC or play any other system, you just lying. If you own a PlayStation and a PC and a Switch and an Xbox or anything else that ain't a PlayStation, then you lying. You know what I'm saying? Because if you play online on your Xbox, then I'm pretty sure if you could play with some of them people that you have on your Xbox, if you could tap into that friend list from your PlayStation, you would. Right or wrong. I mean, so I don't think we need to defend these companies on things like this. I think this should be towards the improvement of the experience for the gamer in general. This should usurp fandom. This should usurp loyalty. This should usurp company. It should be we are gamers, and we as gamers want crossplay, and Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo should acquiesce to what we the gamers want. That's why I think this topic falls in.
I would partly agree with that. I don't have a problem with the fandom. What I have a problem with is when when the narrative is being pushed that it's Nintendo and Microsoft trying to smear Sony when Sony's on top. Look, first of all, Sony, they're in financial trouble. If anybody's on top, that's Nintendo. Right? But furthermore, it's not about, as I said earlier in another podcast, and I believe I said it again in this very podcast, I don't have a problem if Sony does not want to do crossplay because it's their box, right? If they don't want to do crossplay, that's cool, right? Then as a consumer, I have the option of not buying that system, or if it's a game that I would want to have crossplay on, I know to get it for the Switch and not for the Sony box. This is the problem, and this is the problem that I said in last podcast, and I'll say it again in this podcast. It's when a game developer, for example, Epic Games, creates a game, right? And they have their Epic account that's associated with their game. When Sony locks people into their box from their Epic account, and they don't allow people to transfer their account that is not a Sony account to another console in order to transfer skins or whatever the case may be.
They're stepping over the line, right?
They're stepping over the line, right? Now, we can talk about all of the articles from game industry. It doesn't matter because I live in Germany, and it only takes one person in Europe to say that they want crossplay for that article to be absolutely irrelevant, right? But secondly, it only takes for Sony or any other console developer to infringe on the intellectual rights of a game developer to develop a game and associate that game with an account for you to lock that account to your box as if that is your property in that regard. And it's not. That is the problem with what Sony is doing. This is not a smear campaign because Sony is winning. This is a smear campaign because Sony are acting like asshats. That is the problem. If the people who are playing Fortnite that purchase skins and everything on their Epic Games account were able to transfer that over to Microsoft's account and to the Switch or to the PC and not have to buy that stuff over as a consumer, then I would have no problem with that. But what Sony is doing is anti-consumer. You cannot argue that.
Yeah. And like I said, I was just saying, I agree with that. That's the anti-consumer part. I was just saying sometimes we need to step away from our loyalty to and fandom for a particular company and see what benefits the gamers in general as a whole. Some things benefit us as gamers, and we should stand on the side of gamers and not what a company is trying to do. Like, I would never stand lockstep with Nintendo and not having voice chat. I would never stand with them. That don't mean I won't buy their platform and enjoy their games, but I would never stand in agreement with them not offering voice chat to gamers. I think that should be there. That's like we were saying, they should have a head jack in their Pro Controller. They should have convenient ways of getting in and communicating with friends. We shouldn't have friend codes. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to type in a 13 12 number long thing to get Jedi Knight to be my friend.
And you know what? It's a great like how long have we been talking about that? Right?
Right. So
for like 3 console generations now, talking about the friend codes. How many times we've talked about the ability to have, you know, cross game chat with Nintendo, you know, consoles and stuff like that. Imagine if the gaming community voiced, you know, against this, you know, lack of awareness by Nintendo. Do we now call that a smear campaign against Nintendo? Of course not. It's a fact. You know,
hey, I want to jump in.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's just I got a dip, but I gotta say something. When you just said something that made me want to go off for just a second. I'm outside. If y'all hear noise in the background. That dang
we
game.
finna close anyway. We finna close it down. So go ahead. We
okay. That dang GameCube controller, Nintendo, y'all gotta let it die, man. I know Smash is coming back out, but y'all gotta let it die. Like if you not, like, I'm so sick. Like, I think I was riding somewhere and I saw it. I was going through my phone. I was looking. I was like, they finna come up with a bundle with the Smash Brothers with the GameCube controller, bro. Let it die. If you're not gonna re-release the GameCube controller with wireless, with an extra trigger button and all the other stuff, let it go, man. The Pro controller is adequate. The Joy-Cons is adequate. Just change the button configuration. It's perfect. Like, let that GameCube controller die.
Yeah, I'm with you. Right, I'm with you, and that's our point. Like, some things, to me, step out of fandom and step into a place. What's better for us, the community of gamers? Like Jedi said, I'm in Germany. I want to be able to play with anybody that I choose to play with from any platform or any device that I've bought. Now, it is Sony's right to block that, but it's definitely not Sony's right to block assets that you bought that they don't own for a game that they didn't create because it's on their platform, because they don't want you to take that and play somewhere else and maybe not come back. Well, Sony, if you play ball, maybe I would stay here and play, but since you don't want to play ball, you want to also step above and beyond the line and block me from stuff that I purchased with my money that you don't own. Like, one could ask, could Sony be sued for that? Like, literally, like, if somebody was willing to try to, I believe they will win that case. But my thing is, if Bethesda stay lock and step with this, I think it's the wrong game. Going back to the actual main topic, I think it's the wrong game. I don't think this game is going to be, and it's like what Keith said, and what I think it was who said it down here. Trigger Man said it. That the game that they use and show you that Bethesda ain't they kind of blowing smoke, because if they was really serious, it'd be a game like Doom or a game like Wolfenstein or a game like Fallout 76 that they say, hey, if you don't want to play ball with crossplay, then Fallout 76 ain't coming. I think that would turn more heads. I think that would cause fans to cry out and be like, bro, Sony, y'all need to stop and need to kind of step off of this whole no crossplay, because we want Fallout 76. I think that'll challenge Sony more than this cards game.
And what is a good point to that as well is that Bethesda is not the media.
Right.
So, they're a game developer, and that's coming directly from Bethesda. I was listening to Antonio C, or reading Antonio C, saying that this seems like it's a Western media push. Well, I would like to know what the Eastern media is saying about this, because, I mean, anybody can say that it's like Western media. Well, what is the alternative saying? Because it seems like what game developers are doing, such as Epic Games and now Bethesda, they seem to be in support of whatever the Western media is saying. Right now, I can understand. I mean, they can be people can be extra when it comes to particular articles. We know this. It's in the gaming industry. It could be in real life journalism, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, if you're locking accounts, it's wrong. Now, some can say, well, if you're the platform leader, then you can do that. Well, obviously, it seems like developers and other console makers don't agree with that, because now they're making the push to show, like, look, you have alternatives outside of the market leader. I mean, every generation, these things change. I remember when the Xbox 360 was the king of the hill until it wasn't.
Yeah. I would say this, to kind of throw a monkey wrench in the whole Western philosophy. Honestly, Sony is a Western company now. They lean, everything Sony does is mostly Western. Nintendo is probably the bigger of have a more of an Eastern philosophy than any other three companies. So Nintendo is on board for crossplay. So I think the whole Western agenda is not realistic.
That's a
because
perfect point.
Sony hasn't been Western for years. So I mean,
Nintendo is not even
years.
a Western company.
Yeah, they're not a Western. They're Eastern company.
They're not even Western.
Yeah, they Eastern and they more Eastern and follow more Eastern traditions and patterns like no voice chat, all the things that Sony does. Sony is more Western than Microsoft. If you want to be honest, Sony is an American. It dominates Western markets. It don't even dominate in Japan. Nintendo has Japan on lock. Sony doesn't. So I don't think the whole Western tip is realistic because, like I said, Sony has a more of a Western identity than it does Eastern now, in my opinion. So I think that's not it. I think brand loyalty is, and I don't want to say this, I ain't trying to offend, but I this is what I see, and I would hope that he would see this could possibly be some of it, that brand loyalty is kind of blurring the lines of what's really going on here. Yes. The industry wants Western and Eastern. Everybody wants cross gameplay. Sony is at the top. Sony has control, and they have the most demographic players within their sphere of, but at the same time, everybody won't cross gameplay, even Sony fans. So I think Sony just not wanting to play ball because they in the driver's seat and they don't have to. And I think that's literally what it is. So
they don't have to until next generation.
Right.
Because people are going to remember that.
They're going to change course. They're going to change tune when the PlayStation 5 is out. They will have, I guarantee you, if the narrative stay with cross gameplay being a part of, just like online and voice chat and cross game chat, all that, Sony couldn't ignore that with the PlayStation 4. They built that into the PlayStation 4 where they didn't do right with the PlayStation 3. Nintendo couldn't ignore it and having to address it with the Switch now. They have it to create an online service with the Switch now. So the next gen, they're going to have to address crossplay, and it's going to be there. Right now, Sony just don't have to play ball because they don't have to. So, but that don't mean people are not going to, call them out and speak their mind of frustration towards the idea of why Sony won't do it. And the reasons, like Keith said, that they tend to give that don't make sense. But anyway, with that being said, this has been the Live and Level Gamers podcast, episode 158. I'm gonna let these dudes sign out, starting with Keith Norris, because he's the one on the go. Go ahead, bro.
Man, I was trying to get my mute button. I was like, let me get it. I'm glad I jumped in. It's a great conversation. Jedi, always good to hear from you, brother.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Same to you.
No problem. Definitely. I think basically what y'all was saying was, and how y'all summed it up was, the blurred lines is still believing that there is a Western and the Eastern. It's a gaming industry now at this point with the digital age, with everything being internet based. Like, yes, they may like to play more RPGs and things like that, but the fact still remains is there's a lot of games that translate over, like the Call of Duties and stuff like that they like to play. It's just as well as we like to play. So. Those, to me, that's the blurred lines. At this point, man, it's just all about gaming and doing what's right for the consumer, which should be like Level says, should be our main focus. It shouldn't be about whether or not Nintendo is doing it. It shouldn't be about whether Sony's doing it, Microsoft's doing it. What's good for the industry as consumers? You know what I'm saying? As consumers, that should be our focus. What they're doing, let that be their focus, and let us speak with our wallets. And y'all have a good Sunday.
All right. Jedi.
Yeah, it was a pleasure as always. This was actually a very good interaction with the audience. Though I was in contrary view with Antonio C, it was definitely a pleasure to
chop it up
debate with him. Yeah, I mean, to chop it up with the community in general. And actually, Cornelius talked about THQ having time splitters. We'll probably touch on that next week.
Yeah, I think that's that. I couldn't add everything, man. It's so much. It was so much, man.
Yeah. But shout outs to Antonio and the Trigger Man, everybody else who participated. There was a lady here that she said that she typically listens to us on her way to work, but she was
Erica Green.
live. So shout outs to Erica Green. And yeah, man, till next week. Happy Monday to everybody, because it is past midnight my time. So the dedication is real. And definitely till next week.
That's funny.
Yeah. Glad for all you guys tuning in, all those that was in the live chat. Antonio, man, continue to listen in. Hope you enjoyed. It was fun chopping it up with you. Don't take anything personal. It was just dialogue. We all gamers and we all enjoy conversation. So all those who tune in, we appreciate you. And until next time,
We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
peace.
That's what Sony said over there, blocking accounts from CrossPlay. They trying to build a wall.
All right, y'all. Y'all stayed up. Peace.